sustainability of the company. Second one, the governance, which group internal auditors reporting directly to the shareholder, the business owners activities. So to have a business decision on the appointment and the remuneration. Better investment, which is additional money should be invested in short-term investment. And also the last one is a benchmarking, where these to benchmark the cash holding versus similar business, which are not low management to keep excessive cash. Next. And I'm going to pass over to Shahrul. Again.
Thank you, Emil. So that's basically a little bit about what's happening here. Can you hear me, Nata? Yeah. About GGG Enterprise and how the excessive money is actually in conflict of what stakeholders request from an organization. So maybe I'll open for some questions first before we proceed to the next section.
Okay.
Any questions? Well, if not, then maybe I'll... Yeah.
You want to keep the question to the end?
Well, we can move on to the next topic first. And then, of course, if you have any questions, you can always refer to us back at the end. That'll be fine. Okay. So for the second part of the session, I would like to invite our three speakers, is Syed Rodizan, Tariq, and Ibrahim, who will talk a little bit about the Wirecard scandal and how this impacts the corporate governance of Wirecard. Maybe I'll pass over to Syed.
Okay, thank you, Shahrul. So for next topic, we are going to talk about the Wirecard, regarding the corporate governance. So the case study is about corporate governance and financial fraud of Wirecard. We got this article authored by Joe, Ilanos, and Vergara from the Journal of European Journal of Business and Management Research in this year. So next slide, please. So we are going to clarify further about the background, our reflection, the solution to avoid this kind of governance to happen in future, and what is our conclusion from this issue. So next slide. To go to background, Wirecard, to get further understanding about the Wirecard, Wirecard is a leading financial technology company in Germany, was founded in 1999. What happened is Wirecard also the fastest growing finance technology firm in German stock exchange. They provide the service infrastructure services for the online payments, the service to the banks, and also they provide third-party acquirers partner up with the bank to provide a safe deposit transactions for within the banks using their system. So next slide. So in June, what happened? June 2020, Wirecard has been filed an insolvency of 1.9 billion of cash not balanced in balance sheets has gone missing. Their CEO got arrested and been charged related to the market manipulations and false accounting. Their share price fall from the 104 euro to 128 euro in less than 10 days. This they call this also called a German Enron. The German financial regulator overall investigate this Wirecard issue by European Commission and put them in under the watch list to investigations. So the root cause for this issue, because the corporate governance of Wirecard has been ineffective to oversee the accounting malpractice. Several their executives in the company use the round-tipping scheme and at the party acquires to manipulate the earnings since 2015. And also the German regulators, they place the self-regulation and the relationship of the stock owners by management itself. And they rely on the company's trustworthiness instead of their audit the company. So based on this, our reflections, we will go through our reflection. What happened to this issue is management manipulated its numbers on the financial statement and hide the company losses from being shared to the public. This is because they want to maintain the stock price at the high level, at the high price, and at the end, the accounting manipulation leads to the after investor know the what happened to the situation, the stock price declined very rapidly. So next slide. Also, the German regulators fail to realize that Wirecard insolvency because no one trustworthy like regulators or external auditors raise any flags, even when it is suspicious in fraud. Because supervisory board have breached its duty of care as they fail to conduct their independent internal investigation for the allegation relating to this Wirecard accounting. And also they fail to prevent the management from what this kind of wrongdoing. So next slide. I will pass to my colleague Ibrahim to continue on the remaining reflection and other issues. Please go proceed, Ibrahim.
You, Said. The third reflection, the collapse of the Wirecard was caused by a fraud scheme that became so large that bankruptcy was inevitable. There are several factors that contributed to the creation, development, and evolution of this fraud scheme will be demonstrated in the next slide. Next, please. The main factors leading to this outcome are significant pressure over management to meet the street's expectations and management's consensus from a business that was growing organically below expectations. So based on this reflection, we suggested some solutions. Next, please. The first solution is to activate the corporate governance process executed by the board of directors and the external auditors. This can be done through committee meetings with management, review of significant transactions and financial information. The second solution proposed from our side to perform the current financial regulation of fintech. The relevant authorities of Germany and other European countries will need to reform the regulation to strengthen their corporate governance system. The third suggested solution is to establish a strong control environment by establishing the complying with a written set of policies. The policies must be concise and include consequences when procedures are disobeyed. A strong control environment, otherwise known as a strong tone at the top, involves enlisting management to demonstrate ethical behavior. We have more solutions will be demonstrated by my colleague Tarek. Tarek, please.
Thank you, Ibrahim. So one of the solutions that also should be implemented is to establish a safe whistleblowing system. So if any wrongdoing is there, you cannot hear me, guys? Hello?
Maybe you need to speak up a little bit more, Tarek.
What about now?
Soft.
Can you hear me?
If you can go a little bit louder, it'll be good.
Okay. What about now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. So one of the process that can be implemented is establishing a safe whistleblowing system. So if any wrongdoing is there, the underlying layers of employees can report it to the system, and so the management will be notified about any wrongdoing in the company. So the employee should be more aware, and they should have a reporting system. Everyone with the organization should be aware of the fraud risk policy, including the type of the fraud and the consequences associated with them. So the next slide. Next slide, please. Segregate accounting functions. So management help to prevent fraud by reducing the incentive of the fraud. The opportunity to commit fraud is reduced when accounting functions are separated. So the segregation of the duties separate the record keeping and authorization and review function in the accounting process. Next slide. Appointing third-party editor. Companies should engage third-party editor to review financial statements. This to prevent management from committing fraud and to avoid overreacting to financial problems in the company. Management may feel pressure to meet financial goals for the company or receive incentive if certain goals are met. So in conclusion, the real loser of the wirecard is the employees, creditor, and shareholder, who bear the substantial losses of their business. The firm needs to implement several improvement policies and governance, such as activate the corporate governance, reform the current financial regulation, establish and comply with written set of policies, establish a service billing system, and segregate the accounting function, plus appointing third-party auditor. So thank you very much from our side in Group 1. So open back to Sharul, so he can.
Thank you, Tariq. So I believe there was an interesting discussion on Wirecard corporate scandal, the mini Enron, as it was touted. I open this for questions, if there's any from our colleagues.
Hi, Cheryl. Christine here.
Yes, Christine.
How do we define excess of cash?
Emil, will you willing to talk a little bit about that? Emil? Well, let me take the question instead then, Christine. Basically, what happens is that whenever you have your cash balance, your cash statements, right, at the end of the year, that is what we're referring to, the excess cash. So how much money that we have, and it was not actually being spent anywhere, whether to be reinvested or to be stored in any long-term equity or things like that. Yeah, so that's basically what we meant by excessive cash. Does that answer your questions, Christine?
Is there any special calculation as in proportion so that we can have an idea how much in excess actually? I actually relate it to our CAPSIM. Actually, our group, while doing CAPSIM, we have excess in money.
Okay, so if you look at, yeah, I can understand that, Christine. I think all of us had the same problem. What to do with money at that time, especially the last round.
In the CAPSIM also, Carol, I can add in the CAPSIM, there was some ratios, if you remember, before you submit your answers, there were some ratios. You should have looked at those ratios and the working capital, for example. You don't have to keep a lot of money in your current assets for the liabilities. You need to balance.
I noticed that our working capital is increasing and we have excess on it also.
So this is not a good practice. You should manage your working capital in a better way, so to keep it equivalent to the current liabilities.
Yeah.
May I add something, please?
Yeah, go ahead, Ibrahim.
Yes. Actually, the major function of any company is achieving investment through the available money. because as all of us know, that the time is very critical for the value of the money. So if you have liquidity, this is something positive to be used in the main function of the company, to be invested. Otherwise, next year, if you keep the cash without investment, it will be with low value. So it is not, even if you don't have, you filled the maximum capacity of your investment, of your automation, of your equity, of your machinery, PPE, you have, for sure you have specific long-term and short-term loans, which can be use your cash in these loans if even you need to buy these loans to avoid the interest rate on the long term and or the short term. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibrahim.
Maybe I can add something, Shahrul.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So for the main purpose we're doing business is to maximize our asset and to multiply it to become more profit. If we keep it in our account without investing, so the profit will be stuck there and not being multiplied. That's why we need the cash need to be put, the asset need to be managed properly by the executive and to give benefit to the investor or stakeholder.
Okay, thank you, Syed. So, Christine, as the team or the panelists have shared, basically why we need to make sure that the cash is being spent properly, right, in an organization. And back to your question, is there a standard of how much we would want to keep in an organization? If you can see the one that I shared back on the slide, is that we compared with companies in China, the other top companies in China, and they are holding about 20% as an average cash holding, rather than up to 44% for Jiguji. Yeah. So does that answer your questions, Christine?
Yeah. So
Thank you very
meaning
much.
to say,
Yeah.
actually, they have to use the money for either investment, not actually keeping it as a cash, because that is not beneficial for the stakeholder.
Correct. Because stakeholders want to maximize their investment, right? They want return from their money. And having excessive cash in the company, as Emil has mentioned also, it just creates two issues like the management can do whatever they want, basically. Because if there's a failed venture, nobody will see it in the books because the bottom line looks okay, right? They can give themselves, as in this case, lavish remuneration because they have excessive cash and nobody is actually overseeing that situation.
Okay. Thank you for the explanation.
Thank you, Christine. Any other questions we have for Jiguji or for Wildcard?
Yeah, Shahrul, Vero here.
Yes, Farrell.
Yeah, I do have a question about the fraud of Wirecard.
Mhm.
As we all know, like for internal auditor, of course, this is hired by the company. External auditor hired by the shareholders. So just want to get the opinion from this from your group, right? What is maybe there's a role for the government itself? Like in Malaysia, we do have a Jabatan Audit Negara. Maybe in US they do have a IRS. In Europe, usually Federal Central Tax. So as mentioned before, this fraud been happen like years. They manipulate the annual financial for years, right? So do you think supposedly there's a role for the government to counterpart or to detect early about this fraud? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Farrell. I'll open this to our panelists. Any of you would like to take this one?
Maybe I can start first, Shahrul.
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay,
sir.
What happened to the Wirecard is because the government, there is a regulator to review on this issue, BaFin in German. What happened to the Wirecard is the government authorized the company, organization, they trust the organization on themselves to manage their account. So government did not audit them. And also, what? again. Again, your question just now.
Yeah, basically
Feroz.
the question from Pharaoh was, is there a role for government in this to actually monitor Wirecard?
Okay, I got now. Okay, the second thing is there is no whistleblowing system for the company. That's what happened. That's why it stayed too long to this company to public to realize that this conflict happened, because as government authorized the management itself to govern their company, and secondly, it's no whistleblowing for the to raise any misconduct. That's why we suggest that there is a system of policies, to strict policy, and also support with the whistleblowing system. Maybe other panel can add some more.
Yes, actually, if you can hear me, guys, right? So
We can. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Also, Pero, the European Union has the same view, your view, that the regulator maybe was not monitoring the progress or the reporting in a very good way. And this is why they initiated an investigation through their watchdog to make sure that the German regulator should follow the practice and procedure that can prevent such actions. It was, it was so good to be true that these companies, from 1999, they just jumped to the best of the stocks in the financial market. So they have, even though there was no clear sign, they should have investigated that, because the normal process or the normal performance should not be, would not be like this. So your point is very valid, and it's really, this is what happened. It's a very recent case, and maybe we will see in the news also some additional information about the current status of the cases. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tariq. If you please, Sharul, I want to add something that actually the regulator for Europe is already was there that time, and it was already activated. But the issue that the company, a leading company such as our company case, is out of suspicious. Even the regulators, it was stated in our presentation that German regulators failed to realize that the Wirecard insolvency, because no trustworthy like regulators and external auditor raised any flags. So actually, the company was trusted for all the market, for all the European, and after this case, actually it was also one of our conclusion that the government in Europe needs to reform their current financial regulation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Pharaoh, does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you, Carol. So based on the answer just now, the way of improvement is not only in the level of the company itself, but also at the higher level, which is in the government, right? So thank you, Carol. Clear.
Thank you, Pharaoh. Maybe any other questions?
So both group has answered the question?
Yes, they have. Okay.
They have, huh? Okay, right. So let's see. Ibrahim Bondo. Ibrahim, I'm proud of you when you said that there's the what is your answer just now when you relate to the subject that we have in class. Remember when we have all these working capital management, remember? When we have excessive cash, the tendency of having an agency issue is very high when we have this agency, when we have this excessive cash. Okay, because the manager will see that, wow, the company is very much healthy now, wealthy, and so they can do whatever it is. Remember when we decided that the debt is one of the mechanism for the shareholder to motivate the managers to perform well. And again, I also proud of Said Rodizan when you'll be able to answer the question clearly with the respect of the just now when you mentioned about what was that, the governance, the governance just now, right? When you relate to what we have done, the theory that we have done in class, okay? So excessive cash, remember when we do our what we call that as working capital management, how we're going to do this is actually by cash budget. That will be answering the question by just now. Who is that? I mean, Christine, is it?
Yes.
Is it by Christine? By
Yes,
Christine.
you are, Doctor.
How are you gonna do that? Yeah. What is the maximum or minimum control of cash in the organization? So this is the duty of finance manager to do all this cash budget lah. Right? The cash budget. So therefore, all the excessive cash will be invested. Invested. And okay, when you are asking about the external auditor, the role of government, you can see that there is a gap here. In fact, in Malaysia also, once the issue been highlighted by the whatsoever bankruptcy or shareholder, then only the government come into the picture, right? So exactly, there is nobody raising the flag for this, meaning that there is no whistleblower. But at this moment, the external auditor has to play their role in escalating the issue, towards what is happening in the company. Remember when we have the issue of what is the company that we are actually I forgot what the company already. There's one company we have the case study for it. Alamak, I can't remember. So this has been an issue where they tried to fire the KPMG, and then they said that this KPMG has been not performing their duty, right? And what next is actually the governance, the governance, Bank Negara come into the picture, step in, and then it said okay, we have to appoint another one more auditor. I can't remember what is the company.
Is this the LTAT issue, Doctor?
Pardon?
The Lembaga Tabung Angkatan Senjata. Is that the one?
No, it is not LTAT. Wait. Because it is very recent issue. very recent issue. I was like, oh my god, I'm so forgetful today.
Is it Serba Dynamic?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, Serba Dynamic. Yes, Serba Dynamic. Serba Dynamic. If you look into the issue, this is concerning of the auditor. Auditor. So this can be a good reading material for you in answering the external auditor role for regulator. So that would be the answer for it lah. How the government step in, so this is actually the board of director and the shareholder actually highlighting this lah. And then we can see that the Serba apa tadi tu?
Serba Dynamic.
Serba
Yes.
Dynamic. Actually, a few board of director resigned already. They have resigned. So this is to show that the protest lah, the protest on the for whatsoever decision that has been made lah. Okay. So okay, very convincing. Although that the content is not that much. Okay, the content is not that much, but you managed to reveal it in the Q&A session. You managed to deal with the Q&A session. Okay. Right. So next group then. Going to take a break for 5 minutes before the next group presenting.
Yes, please.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay. 5 minutes break, yeah? To get your momentum back. All right. Okay, you may start now.
I will share slide for group 2. Can everyone see my slide? Hello?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's coming. All right.
Can see?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, Pak.
This is group 2, right? Group 2, right?
Yes, group 2. Okay, so basically I will be the moderator. Assalamualaikum and good evening to Dr. Da and all of the colleagues. So our group 2 consists of me, Eva Chandra, as the moderator, and 4 other panels, Farah Firdaus, Christine, Nurul Farharna, and also Mano. So our group
I thought
will
we have only
discuss.
one moderator.
Sorry?
Darul? I thought we only have one moderator.
No,
Oh.
one moderator per group, Doctor. So group 2 will be Eva.
Oh,
One
so
group,
you have 3
one
moderators
moderator,
now.
is it?
Yes, we do, Doctor. We're sharing the points.
Is it okay, Dr. Da?
Okay lah.
All right. Group 2 will present Transmill Group as a case study. Go to the background for Transmill. First, Transmill is an investment holding company involved in the provisions of airfreight, aircraft engineering, and also maintenance services, and founded by Gan Boon Aun in November 1993. And then in 1997, Transmill was listed in Bursa Malaysia Security Berhad. So since 1998 until 2006, Transmill actually showed an increase in revenues and also profits due to its expand network operation. So what happened to Transmill? We got to the chronology. So basically, in the first event, by end of December 2006, Transmill was failed to submit their audited financial statement to Bursa Saham, which is supposed to be submitted before end of the year, and then was given extra for months to submit it until the before 30th of April 2007. And then subsequently by 4th of May 2007, Deloitte and Touchy, the external auditor, declined to approve the audited annual account as the lacking of certain support document. So in response, in 7th of May 2007, the board of directors appointed More Roland Risk Management to do a special audit on the issue raised by the external auditor. So what they found is, first, the revenue and profit had been materially overstated since 2004, not only in company's 2006 unaudited annual account, but also in the 2004 and the 2005 audited annual account, with the overstating figure taken into the considerations. Transmit profit for the affected years had reversed to loss, actually, not profit as been mentioned previously, and then resulted in negative consequences to both company and also shareholders. So the consequences is the security commissions, SC, have charged the CEO, the executive director, and also the chief financial officer because give the misleading and unaudited reports. So in early of 2007, Transmile share went down around 8 billion. And then as you can see in the slide, these are the compound that was given to the board of directors. So against this backdrop, the issue of corporate governance and also business ethics was raised to So the next panel will elaborate more on these two issues. Pass to Christine.
Thank you, Eva. Good evening, Dr. Ta and my fellow friends. I will continue to talk about the issue related to corporate governance. So corporate governance is defined as the system by which company activities are directed and controlled in order to achieve the objective of increasing shareholder value by enhancing economic performance. So the keyword from this statement is company activity directed and controlled, meaning that all activities in the company should be monitored and governed by the board of directors, advised by the audit team and risk assessment team. Another keyword here is increasing shareholder value, in which the aim of corporate governance is to safeguard shareholders' interests by enhancing economic performance. Next slide, please. So good corporate governance contributes to sustainable economic development and requires sound internal control practices like segregation of incompatible functions, elimination of conflict of interest, establishment of audit committee, and etc. to guide companies to achieve their business objective without compromising shareholder interests. Therefore, the success or failure of any organization is mainly depending upon the successful implementation of effective corporate governance. Next, please. So this slide shows the objective of good corporate governance that should be it should be complemented by transparency and accountability to safeguard shareholders' interests, which comply to statutory and legal compliance. Good corporate governance help in building trust among the investor, where bad corporate governance is a sign of weakness of the corporation. So the corporate governance is mainly influenced by the board of the directors of the company. The issue on Transmile misconduct was raised when the group was announced to be facing suspension and delisting as a consequence of its unaudited consolidated results for the year 2006. And in this case, it is very clear that we can see the group did not comply to the responsibility and decision-making authority incorporating in hierarchy of approvers from individual to board of directors. GAN actually persuaded the board to approve the unaudited quarter accounts during the 36th board meeting, and this raised the issue about the board's member competency. The board of directors was totally responsible and accountable for the company's overall conduct and performance. The case also demonstrated the failure of internal control through audit and risk management functions in Transmile. The audit committee of Transmile is responsible for assisting the board of directors in carrying out their statutory duties as well as the company's accounting and reporting practice, but the committee appears to have failed to review and oversee the financial reporting. The malpractice of audit committees in this aspect is seen as a big letdown for Transmile. I would like to pass the next topic to Farrell.
Okay. Thanks, Christine. So my part will be ethical theory. Just a brief explanation on this ethical theory. This is to give us more understanding on the ethical theory, which we can relate with this case study. So as we all know, ethical theory is a method or systemic effort to deal with moral concept and justify moral principle and theories. So in this Transmile Group Berhad, they do have an ethical issue, which the company did a manipulation on accounting techniques, where they overstep earning to mislead their investor, or in another word called accounting fraud. So I will try to relate with two theory, which is teleological theory and secondly deontological theory. Next, Eva.
Can see?
Okay. Not yet. Okay. So theological theory divided into two perspectives, which is egoism and also utilitarianism. So for egoism, how I can relate with egoism with this case study, as we understand that egoism is the definition is more like a self-interest. Those who has an interest at the short or long term using their power is called egoism. So in this case study, Transmile Group Berhad management able to ensure the board of directors to approve the unaudited annual report and submit to Bursa Malaysia. So of course, this action show that how the top level management in Transmile Group Berhad, they have the ability to dominate the company policy, which to ensure they can maintain their current position by showing the fact achievement of their company. Next, Emma. Okay, for the next perspective, which is utilitarianism, just to give an understanding to everyone, the definition is as long as the outcome of the action can give great result or outcome for the greatest numbers of people. So in this case study, the top management intended to emit happiness to all that involved, such as the stockholders, future investor, but the action lead to a major shortcoming, which finally end with just unjustified means. At the end, their misconduct only give a positive impact for some peoples, but negative outcome to many others. Okay, and the last one, next. Okay, and the last one is deontological. An act that is not good morally can lead to something good. So as mentioned by my colleague just now, Transmile Group Berhad was lying to their investor with false internal and external audit and reports, which they overstate their financial income. So they try to rationalize the action by thinking that if they're revealing the truth, it will decrease the investor confidence, which can lead to more further losses to their company. At the same time, they assume that the company will counterbalance their loss on the next financial year. Okay, that's all from from my part. I will pass over to Farhana for the next discussion. Thank you.
Okay, Farhana, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Vero. Okay, I'll explain about the discussion regarding the Transmile case. So, the case is regarding the highlight, whereby it is important that external auditor is essential because the scandal would not have surfaced if deployed and touch the entity not detect the Transmile accounts irregularities. So at this point, Gunn admitted to the Deloitte at the audit committee meeting that he is aware of those transactions and will provide supporting document accordingly. Next, if the entity are more cautious and diligent to their audit, they would have alert the board when auditing the 2005 accounts. This may be the result of the relationship between the entity and also Transmile, which caused the stress whereby it caused the auditor's independence of mind, which caused the audit quality might be affected. Next will be this during at the board meeting. Next slide. So what will happen next? During on the board meeting, Gan got the board to approve the unaudited quarter account, which question the board member capability. So the BOD was fully responsible and accountable for the overall conduct and performance of the activities of the company. So next is the Transmal Audit Committee is responsible to assist for the board of director carrying an accounting and also they need to report the practice of the company and subsidiaries. It looks like that the committee failed to evaluate and monitor of the financial reporting. Then audit committee is responsible in aspect considered to the huge letdown of the Transmal, whereby such an important committee, they fail to communicate between auditor and also the board of director. Next slide. Okay. It is found out that in Malaysia, whistleblowing action is not a popular way in reporting of the wrongdoing by board of director and also the top level management. So it is not culturally not accepted well in many organizations. But as we know, whistleblower is an action to reveal acts of crime or any mismanagement in any organization, which is important to enhance the corporate governance. In this case, it is obviously clear that there are some elements of whistleblowing, auditor refusing to sign the account and the newly appointed director police report regarding the accounting irregularities in the financial statement. So, in addition, Transmal should supposed to practice ethically in terms of to reduce self-ego in having if having lower profit, then you have to admit it. Then need to practice to consider all the stakeholder, not to the shareholder or BOD only. And last but not least, they must do things correct way ethically. I shall pass to my colleague which is Mano.
Thank you, Farhana. Good evening, everybody. Okay, let me go through the recommendation, which is the solutions proposed. We start off with a restructure audit committee because that seemed to be the main problem here. So to ensure there is at least one financial expert and the others are knowledgeable in accounting practices, understanding of accounting principles, finance terms, and financial issues. So the role of the audit committee should adhere to the corporate governance and should always be the bridge between the internal and the external auditors and the board of directors. So when any concern raised by the auditors should be communicated immediately to the board of directors. And it is also good to have more independent members in the audit committee to improve the quality work, and the committee's main responsibility is actually to protect the investors' interest and the health of the capital market. Next is to strengthen the internal controls. The company should have more process to detect any irregularities in their accounting records. Transactions without proper justified documents should not be accepted. Verify the customer's background before dealing with any new transactions. So they have to revisit the entire business cycle and verify every process and procedures that being recorded, modify wherever is required. Make sure there's a transparency and consistency across the board. So any large amount of transaction should obtain proper authorization before committing the acceptance. And only authorized people should be able to access to the accounting records. Next will be the frequent evaluation on internal and external auditors. Their role here is need to re-evaluate frequently to assure the company's risk management, governance, and control processes are functioning effectively. So also they also need to do regular audit checks to evaluate the potential fraud occurrences and how to manage it. And the other thing is training on ethical practice to every level of management is also important, so that they can educate them and create awareness of what to do and how to do it. And they also have to emphasize on the whistleblowing importance, because culturally it is not so much practice in Malaysia, but they have to bring it into the to practice in order it is more useful. So for that, they need to educate the employees about Whistleblowers Protection Act 2010. And the best corporate governance practice is about achieving the stakeholders' goal and ethically delivering success. So in general, non-shareable finance problems perceived opportunity with little fear of that detection. So when they don't have fear and defensive of accused, any individual may commit the fraud, even though they are a respectable figure and not under economic pressure. Next, please. So in conclusion, management helps to prevent fraud by reducing the incentive of fraud, segregate accounting functions. This act of segregating duties separate the record keeping, authorization, and review functions in the accounting process. So so much is recommended. Set up a robust control environment from top involving management to demonstrate ethical behavior would be very helpful. A firm tone is developed by establishing or complying with written policies. According to the Associate of Certified Fraud Examiners, ACFE manual, one of the easiest way to establish a strong moral tone for an organization is to hire a morally sound employees. That's all from Group 2. Thank you.
So thank you, Mano. So basically, for the summary of the issue in Transmil is that the board of director has not fulfilled their responsibility for the overall conduct and performance of their activities in Transmile. And also the audit committee as well has lack of integrity, where material matters raised by the external auditor was not communicated by the audited committee to the board of director. So based on the previous discussion regarding the governance and also ethics and the recommendations, is there any questions from the other group to the panels?
Yeah, thanks, Siva. Satish here. So
Yeah,
just one question. I'm sure that if you guys have recovered earlier, we know that Transmile did some kind of financial fraud through the income statement and kind of stuff. But do we know what do they change or what fraud they did based on the accounting practices?
It was actually the 20, may I take it, Eva?
Yes, Governor.
It was the 20 company purported 2 ringgit company that Mr. Gan created, and that made the flow, the whole, he made all these 20 transactions, which was not actual. So he just created this 2 ringgit company and made the transaction all around. So that's why I was saying that they should verify who is the buyer, who is the actually is producing the what do you call the transactions before committing the accepting the transaction.
Got it. Thanks, Mano. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mano. Thank you, Satish. Is there any questions from other group?
Yes, Eva.
Who is...
This is Emil. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Emil. Okay.
Just quick one. This is a good presentation, though. I mean, I just want to know, like, do you think how objective and independent is it from the external auditor being? I mean, like we always mention that you also just think that to having external auditor, right? But do you think how objective and independent they are? I mean, like at some point they're also doing I don't know, they can do with the board of directors or audit committee as well, right?
Yeah.
That's it. This is based on your review. Yeah.
So any panels want to try to answer regarding the objective of the external auditor?
Can I try?
Farhana, yes.
Okay. I think it is important to have an external auditor, which is can be changed for maybe like every 5 years, so that there won't be any conflict of interest between the auditor company and also the company itself. In my opinion.
The other panel want to add on? Oh, sorry. Yes.
No worries. Yeah. How many external editing that is a firm going through? Is it only for the shareholders or also the government or the exchange has also an external editor to verify the financial information?
Sorry, Ibrahim, my line is very quite bad. Come again?
Yeah, this is Tariq here. What I'm saying
Okay,
is,
sorry.
no, it is not. What I'm saying, there is more than one external editor, right? One external editor that editing the financial statement for the benefit of the shareholder. And there's supposed to be another external editor for the regulator himself. In case there is any fraud or something, he can appoint an external editor, make an investigation or edit to ensure that the issue behind the fraud or how it is being conducted and so on.
Oh, I see. So meaning your question is there any other external auditor in auditing this Transmazit?
Yes.
So the panels, Carol, Christine, Farhana, Mano, do you want to try to answer?
Yeah, there is the movers and Rowland risk management, who actually apart from the Deloitte, because the Deloitte is their regular regular auditors. So they appoint these movers are the one who actually further investigated and confirmed the case. I'm not really sure whether that was his question.
It's okay. I just wanted to confirm that the external edit has happened.
The only thing is, Bursa, what I also feel is like by looking at the thing, Bursa was just listening to what initially was whatever Deloitte submitted. You see, when Deloitte had a long-term relationship with what you call Transmart, so they kind of like they know what is the account going to look like. So they assume like it is like this. So they just kind of keep signing through and without really filtering. And furthermore, it seems according when we were reading this, there's actually they don't really read every sentence or every items of the accounting. So they assume
it's a quality of edit, yes.
Yes, correct. That's why. So it's actually Bursa also just accepted whatever was given, and then it's it went
So
on.
again, the same problem of that the one that we trust very much. Again, it is raising.
Correct.
Thank you, Mano.
Okay, well.
Excuse me, I have one question, please.
Oh yeah, Ibrahim, go on.
There is one of the recommendation was to strengthen the internal control using the BOD, the board of directors. So my question is related to the conflict of interest. The conflict of interest between two facts. The first fact that the members of the BOD came from inside the firm. So they are looking to achieve profits, to take a percentage to show that they are successful members. They are covering their role. From the other hand, they are supposed their responsibilities to keep and achieve profit for the shareholders, the people who have the stocks. So and reflect the right status for them. So my question: how to, as a lesson learned, to solve this conflict of interest in the real status?
Okay,
The real
thank
life.
you. Can I take this question, Eva?
Yes, yes. Proceed.
Okay. So I mean, your question is the board of directors mostly is from the company itself, and of course they do have, for sure they can have a conflict of interest, right? So usually in a big company, they do have an independent executive. I mean, independent members, which is not fully related with the company. So I think with the regular changes of independent members, this can help to maybe to make the board of director more transparent in making their decision. Thanks, Ibrahim.
Is that answer your question, Ibrahim?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Really?
Thank you for
Okay. Is that all from group 2?
Yes, that's all.
That's all from group 2. Thank you, Dr.
Okay.
Tan.
All right. So let's look at the Transmile. The Transmile issue. Mhm. Okay, so go to the next slide. Next. Okay. So this is actually the chronology. The earlier one.
The previous.
Oh.
This is also about the audit committee, right? The auditors. Okay, not this one. Another
The
one.
previous one.
The
This one.
previous
The
one.
previous is the chronology one.
Yeah.
Is this?
The chronology one.
Okay.
2 slides before this.
My slide, my line is very slow today.
Oh, okay.
Is this the slide?
No.
Kan aja. The
But you want me to share the
Okay,
slide?
this one, the chronology. The chronology. Okay, when you look into this chronology, you notice that the financial statement here is very important. Financial statement here is very important. Did you notice that when the external auditor not qualify the audit, so you cannot produce this to Bursa Malaysia. If you don't produce it to Bursa Malaysia, so they're going to stranded your trading lah, and the share trading. Okay, so this is actually one of the regulations that Malaysia has to be has imposed lah, to the company. So they have to submit their financial statement. Financial statement. Okay, so that will be a mechanism of control. Okay, mechanism of control. But when we look into this appointment of the auditor, so who is playing the important role here is a board of director. Board of director. Okay. So I would like you to share with me the last suggestion for the issue. I think the second last slide.
The recommendation.
Recommendation, correct.
Yeah. They will see the line.
No problem. Okay, so this recommendation on restructuring the audit committee, okay, you can do this, but if you still have the same board of director, they will still have the same ideology. Got me or not? Right? Okay, so that's why sometimes the board of director, the shareholder will always speak out towards this board of director because they are actually molding this company towards the whatever culture that they want. Yeah, remember, I'm not really sure, not your group, where you have this one activity in meeting 5 where we look at the culture for Felda Global Venture. We look at the traditional way of managing the company, right? Where the what called the CEO is not being changed for quite a number of years, you know. So the CEO is being so pleasant there. So they are in the comfort zone, right? So that would be a disaster for a company lah, if the CEO is too comfortable at that position. So in a way that you have to push them. You have to push them in a way that company is not running with the same pace anymore. We have a lot of event out there that need changes to be done. So do to our board of director. We need to change. We need to follow what is actually happening in the market, especially during this COVID-19. You know, so they have to think beyond what we have already happened in like past few years or 10 years with those experience, because this is very new. This is very new and you require a new approach, right? So that's why to me the recommendation is very good, okay? But at most we have to look into what is the duty of the board of director at this point. Okay, so in a way that if this is actually prolonged, still happening, and I think the board of director has to answer all this. Definitely they have to answer all this. Not only the CEO or whatever lah.
Yeah,
Okay?
actually,
And then yes.
Dr. Ta, I would like to add some point. Actually, when we are doing this case already been closed, and also the board of director already got their punishment in a way. So that's why we assume that there's already change of board of director. That's why we didn't mention in this recommendation.
Yeah, because this case was already a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
It's solid history. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. So in a way that eventually the board of director has to step down.
Yeah.
Eventually that board of director has to step down. So this is happening now when there is a big organization where the at the end of the day, who is going to answer this is the board of director. So what you can charge the CEO is by the fraud cases lah, right? Bribery lah, itu mismanagement. But the board of director plays an important role here, right? Okay, and look at the another one more. Okay, I'm interested when you are saying emphasize a whistleblowing. Whistleblowing, it is not easy, right? Although that we have all this and whatnot, right? So the whistleblower sometimes are not protected, so they are at risk. Yeah, they are at risk. So that will be another issue lah, to look at. Okay, but this is very important. Whistleblowing actually very important in the organization. Very important organization, right? So some of the company they have issue on implementing this whistleblowing, because the protection to the whistleblower and some of the issue of the the governance as well lah, huh? Okay. So okay, and the Transmile, and I like when you relate this to deontology lah, and then a few theory, theory. This is actually one of the behavioral theory towards finance. We are looking into the behavior of board of director, not only the investor, we are looking into the behavior of the board of director and whatnot. Okay, so I like it. I like it. I like when you try to relate this with some of the behavioral issue elements and theory of it. And okay, I think that's it for the second group. And we're going to go to for the third group. So now the moderator has changed, right?
Yes. The third group
Okay,
moderator. Thank you, Dr.
okay,
Dara.
it's up to you whether you want to continue straight or you want to have a break before we go. Yeah. And go Q&A session. Congratulations.
Dr. Dara.
All right.
Hi, Doctor. Can we continue or we are going for a break?
It's up to you.
Yeah,
You can
I'm okay.
continue, it's fine.
You're okay to go.
Yes, yes, Doctor.
Okay, Sharaj.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm the moderator for this round. I'm Sharanya. And we're having 4 panels over here where Satish and Hamid will cover on the agency theory, and Pavi and Sonia will be covered on the stakeholder theory. So let me go through the brief understanding and theory definition for agency theory before I pass to my panels. So agency theory is basically a principle that is used to explain and resolve issues in the relationship between business principals and their agents, where the principals or have hired the agent to perform a service on their behalf, where they have their own self-interest for themselves. So principal normally will give the decision-making authority to the agents because many decisions that affect the principal financially or any organization decisions are made by the agent, where it will lead to the different opinions and even different priorities and interests can occur, where agency theory also assume that the interests of the principal and the agent always does not align to each other. So this will be lead to the principal agent problems, where the resolving the differences in expectation opinion between the principal and agents is called the reducing agency loss, where agency loss is the amount of principal loss due to the action taken by the agent, where that are contrary to the principal's interests. So this situation will lead to the conflict in the relationship between the principals and agents as well, where other practices include tying executives' compensation in part of shareholders' return as well. So next slide, please. So when going through some of the example of agency theory, the first one we look at the function of government in a country, where there will be a conflict when the promises made by the ministers was not fulfilled to the residents over the country. So in this case, the voters will be act as the principal and the government will representative of the agent. The second example of agency theory will be relationship between employers and employee in a company, where employees are hired by the employers to work based on the company objectives. So which means some of the workers are being scammed and does not provide the benefits or as what they are promised, while in another way that some employees works against the company, where they did some frauds and does not follow the ethics and cause financial damage to the company, which brings to a bankruptcy sometimes. So the corporate governance is a bit additional to the second one, where relationship between the shareholders and the directors of the company,
where the agency theory of corporate obtained a lot of attention and is seen as evaluated, where there are different point of views between the shareholders and directors in handling the company financially or their management as well. Next slide, please. So looking at the importance of agency theory, I'd like to bring two type of conflicts where different risk appetite. That means that the shareholders and the directors or managers are having different interests, and they are capable to take different type of risk. So which means some like to take less risks, and some goes to the high risk to make sure their company runs in a better profit. So there might be a conflicts where some managers or directors does not satisfied with the shareholders' opinion in taking risks as well. So this will lead to distrust or any dissatisfaction in their management. The second one will be super self-centered executives, where some of the executives will planning for the short-term fast improvements to make sure that they got their name there, or the good name and performance, so that they will get higher pay. So this is a good thing, but it might end up with a dangerous situation where some of the shareholders does not like that way, and this bring to more conflicts and problems in the organization. So next, I would like to invite my panel, Hamid, to continue on this.
Thank you, Sharon. So before we move on to the case study, let's look into some assumptions on underlying the agency theory. So as we know, agency theory examines the relationship between the agents and the principals in the business. The agents can be managing directors or directors, etc., and the principals can be the shareholders or the managers, etc. So the first assumption that can be made is that each individual, each party is egoistic. That means egoist. That means they are self-centered and they act according to their own level of self-interest. So the decisions that make it benefit that particular party more than the other party. The second assumption that can be made is that agents are the ones who are in power. They have the access to information, which gives them the eligibility to make decisions compared to those principles. So we'll move on to the case study, which will be discussed by Satish in much more detail.
Thank you, Hamid. Good evening, doctors and my fellow friends. So over here, you're going to look at the agency theory case study, basically referring to the organization called Enron. Enron, as everybody know, Enron is the father and mother for all the frauds. So let me just start with the some background of Enron back in United States. So it is a highly respected organization back in US till the year of 2001. And the failure and the bankruptcy of Enron is basically jolted in Wall Street. It's like every universities and also every financial crisis, Enron will be used as one of the example where there's a lot of employees actually verge into the financial crisis because of Enron Corporation fraud. Enron at the peak, the share was at the $90.75, and prior to declaring to the bankruptcy, they have been trading around 26 cents. So like a huge drop, which is a 90.75 to 26 cents, is basically a significant drop to the financial market and also for the Enron. In the area of a bull market, which is around 1990s, so Enron's ambition is to contribute to the rapid growth. So they have been into the boom years of energy trading business, and then they also diversifying their business into a lot of other areas related to the energy trading. But then with the increase of competitions and also the spending control that Enron doesn't have, the company profit started to shrink slowly part by part. And also market to market accounting, which actually what Enron did is Enron started to write unrealized figure in terms of the gain on some trading contracts. So they started to create a fake contract, fake clients, and also started to impose more higher profitability based on their fake contracts and fake clients, fake POs, and giving a fake wrong illusion to the shareholders and also investors, as they are looking at the current profitability on a very high, and as well as the projection of the profitability at a very high stage. Moving on to the next slide. So the issue that relates to the agency theory that we look at Enron is basically Enron's director. So we can see three primary issue relating to the agency theory. Enron's directors, that is written telling that it's a legal obligation where they need to protect and promote investors' interests. But then what happened is the directors also have a separate incentives to do so, where basically if you realize the Enron directors, most of them are holding a huge number of shares within the organization. So what happened is when these fraud activities are getting involved and making it happen, they just tend to keep quiet and just go on with it, because indirectly the share price is also increasing, and then the incentive that they get based on that is actually hands-on to them. So they just forgot that their responsibility is actually to protect and promote the investors' interests, but then they are more in their own personal interest into this issue. The second one would be Enron CEO also act as a chairman and also act as a CEO for the organization. This is a typical agency theory issues that we see not only in Enron, but most of the organization, where one person act as a CEO and chairman. So this one guy is controlling the board management and also board of directors. So there is no segregation of duties. And what happened is the board of directors just become a rubber stamp role, where they just required for the signing papers, approving things, following the guideline of the chairman, telling that what they need to be do. And also as a CEO, he just playing the part as a management leader to do what kind of a decision that he need to do for the organization. The third one, which is a more crucial, I would say, in this situation, where Enron's auditor and Enron's accountant, which is Arthur Anderson, are the same firm. So there is no fairly presented financial statement. Arthur Anderson prepares the accounts based on all the entries, closings, forecasts, and kind of stuff, and they also do the auditing. So there is no check and balance. It's the same person. If one person saying wrong, another person, even though it is right, they just say wrong, or one person saying right and another person just follows. So there is no segregation of two roles between the accountants and the auditors, and that is where the critical agency theory issues that we see in Enron. So giving it to my friends for the next slide.
Yeah, thank you, Shadi. So I'll be covering the state theory. State theory can be defined as anyone who's got a particular interest in the business. So it seeks a stakeholder theory and to provide the balance between the interests of its diverse stakeholder in order to ensure of each one can receive some degree of satisfaction. So this idea goes back a long way to 1951. This idea is various stakeholders should receive some sort of satisfaction. They should be engaged in some way with the business and receive a return from the existence of the business. So the worker should receive the salary, job security, but in returns, the workers have an obligation to involve themselves and be committed toward the business objective. So the managers have the obligation to ensure that the business is running efficiently, and in return, they can expect a good salary and a good condition of employment. So we can see the various stakeholders receive benefits, but they also put something back into the business. So next slide, please. So this picture is showing that the different types of stakeholders, internal and external by Freeman. And stakeholder theory is an idea about how business really works. It says that for any business to be successful, it has to create value for customers, suppliers, employees, communities, and finances. It says that you cannot only look at one of the stakeholders separately. Their interests have to go together, and the job of the manager or entrepreneurs is figure out how the interest all the stakeholders and go to the same direction. Then how important each of these group in order for the business to be successful, we need to look at how our business product or service can satisfy our customers, and how to satisfy supplier, and supplier also help business in return, and employees using 100% of their effort or energy to creativity to make the business better. So think about the business that is a good citizen in the community that pay attention the issue of corporate responsibility. So stakeholder theory is basically the idea that each one of these groups is very important to the success of the business. So next slide, please. So the firm has a fiduciary duty to maximize their returns and put their needs first. So the company has obligation to maximize their returns, be efficient, but also recognize the role and the status of the various stakeholders in the organization. So doing creative is the resource to satisfy the competing demand of different stakeholders that demand the company does not follow it and have to also provide a good working condition. It also rewards the owners with the returns of their investment. So the model addresses the needs of the investors, employees, suppliers, and customers, is trying to get the reconciliation of these different competing requirements. So organization is able to continue and resolve any conflict between them. So clearly, if one set of stakeholders are not satisfied with the returns, and they're going to be upset, there's going to be a conflict. So to resolve this issue, the management must ensure that business is producing sufficient resource to satisfy the different competing stakeholders' requirements. So next slide, I'll pass to Pavi.
Thanks, Sonia. So I will be discussing about a case study on the.
Pavi, sorry, your voice is quite slow.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now can.
Okay, so I'll be discussing about a case study on the Siemens Argentina corruption scandal. So Siemens is a multinational company headquartered in Germany and is one of the largest Europe-based E&E company. So it has one of its manufacturing plant at Argentina, and the scandal actually involves the company bribing the Argentinian government for over a decade to acquire a government contract. So 7 of the Siemens executives were actually charged for bribery because of this incident. So in the next slide, we'll be discussing about the timeline of the incident on what had happened from the start to the end. Okay, so in the beginning, the government actually planned to implement electronic ID cards for the Argentinian citizens. So in order to do that, they actually released a $1 billion contract for this project. And what Siemens did was it actually bribed the government $70 million to acquire this $1 billion contract. And sorry, so after a few years, actually, there was a change in the government, in the Argentinian government. And after the change, the government actually foiled the contract. So the reason was because the government actually questioned Siemens on the high cost in manufacturing the ID. The cost was actually twice as much as what the government was actually estimated for that particular project. So because of that, the government actually announced the suspension of the contract. And after a few years, there was another political change that happened in Argentina, and Siemens actually tried to resurrect the contract by paying additional bribes to government. However, this plan was unsuccessful, and what the company did was issued arbitrary proceedings to recover its costs from the cancelled contract and also try to pay additional bribes to the respective authorities to suppress the evidence on how they acquired this government contract. And this plan was also unsuccessful, and the Securities and the Exchange Commission in Argentina charged 7 former Siemens executives on bribery. So due to the decisions made by this company, there were several stakeholders affected in different kind of aspects. So we will look into these crucial stakeholders, who are those key stakeholders, and what are the impacts that the company's decision had on these stakeholders. So some of the crucial stakeholders are stockholders. So they'll be getting financial returns from the profits of the company. As for the local community, is the health, safety, and economic development. For the government, is the tax and GDP. Employees is the income and safety. And suppliers would be the revenues and safety. So next, we'll be looking into the impacts of the company's decision on the stakeholders. So first of all, for the stockholders, is acquiring a government contract will actually increase the profit and also gain a higher market share. So actually, the stockholders will be getting a higher return from this, and it's actually quite beneficial for them. As for the suppliers, they'll be getting more orders from Siemens as there is more contracts for Siemens, and there will be also revenue growth for the suppliers. As for the employees, it is increased profit will actually benefit the employees in the form of bonuses and additional incomes. So actually from here, we can see that some of the stakeholders are having a positive impact. However, there are also some stakeholders that are negatively impacted from this, and the severity of this impact is much more significant compared to the positive impacts. So as for the other stakeholders, for local community, there's a higher outflow of taxpayers' money. So since the government is paying twice as much for the contract, and some of part of the government's money is also the taxpayers' money, so there's actually a higher outflow of this taxpayers' money. And next, businesses will also turn to shortcut instead of fair competition, since if all the companies continue to bribe the government, and this will actually result in allocating more resources to less desirable alternatives. And it will also encourage more white-collar crimes. As for the government, it will actually reduce the freedom of choice under which a decision is made, since the authority will only be choosing the one that is providing the bribe. And there will be also additional government expenditure due to since they are paying higher for a particular contract, and this can also lead to loss of money. And it also damages the authority, prestige, and force of laws and regulations. And it can also hinder the attempts of government to improve the overall wealth of the nation. And this might actually diminish the image of the government, and people actually lose faith on the government as well. So from this case study, we can see that the government is not prioritizing the importance and needs of the stakeholders as how it should according to the stakeholder theory. So I'll be passing the next slide to Hamid to discuss about the recommendations.
So before we wrap it up with the presentation, let's go through some of the differences between agency theory and stakeholder theory, mainly summarizing between all the points. So agency theory, there's differences in the principles and the agent's best course of action. So the agent theory can arise in situations where they have portfolio of managers where they are the agents and they have to look after the principal who are the shareholders or those people who invest money. There can be a term that can be coined from the agency theory, which can be called the agency loss. This term comes up when a principal, maybe a shareholder, makes accusation on the agent, which is very normal, that the agent had made some decisions or performed some actions that were not in the best interest of the principal. As a result, there were some consequences, and the agents are at fault or they are blamed, and the mistake is put on them in order to recover the loss. So going over the stakeholder theory, there is a difference in the priorities as discussed between the external and internal stakeholders. However, it is better for all of these interests to be taken together, so that because each of these group is important all together in order to run the business successfully, because not just one stakeholder can be a means of successful running of the operations of the business. To wrap it up, let's go through agency theory. It's becoming very widely used. It's gaining traction, we could say, because of the way the markets these days are. The corporate finance market these days are rapidly changing. So it is important that the shareholders and the company's interests are protected. The company's interests, sorry, are protected. So shareholders, they're giving all the responsibility onto the agents. They should be confident, they should have faith in the company's management, that the company's management would be able to do the daily business decisions while taking into consideration the interest of the shareholders or the principals. Also, the management should keep interest of the true owners of the company in need. They have to clearly communicate each decision they are making with the principals or the shareholders in this case before they actually plan or any run or any simulate any of the actions. So the stakeholders, as told before, opinions and influence of all stakeholders, it's gonna project a better position in the success of the business. So also the effective use of stakeholder theory also yields good public relations for a company that will ensure that it is the long-term future of that company is going to be very fruitful and prosperous in the future. That is all for our theory discussion. Thank you so much. Sharon,
Okay,
you can
thank
take
you
over.
for the panels. Thank you for the panels. And the audience, is there any questions? You can start asking us. Is there any questions?
No questions, I believe.
Q&A. Right.
Maybe we can go for the count of 5 seconds. If not, we can close the Q&A. Okay,
No,
doctor.
no question, no marks for Q&A. Help your friend, ask question.
Can I have questions?
Yes,
Yes,
sure.
Shahrul,
Yes,
say-
Said.
yes, please.
I'm thinking of the agency theory. Is there any government can have a role in the to or government authorities have a role to improve the situation of the agency theory?
Yeah, maybe I can take this question. Yes, Said, I mean, there is a government intervention in terms of setting up the corporate governance guideline. So that is where government play their part as one of the regulatory body, you know, like from Bursa Malaysia, they set some kind of regulatories to the board of directors on what kind of responsibility and roles they should have, being in a board members, and what is the guideline that they should follow. And as a body that is playing the major role in making sure that organization follow the guideline is all the internal auditors and also the external auditors like KPMG, Ernst & Young, and also other accounting firms. We will do this kind of a regulatory check where they do the board of directors kind of reporting, as well as some of them have the sources of doing the regulatory reporting to the Security Commission, to the Malaysia, which is one of the selected government body by the government, and they swear the reporting which is happening to make sure that the organization follow the guideline from the corporate governance. Answer your
I'm trying
question,
to
sir.
understand. Is there any situation that the company follow all the regulation by the Bursa Securities, but at the same time they have a conflict with their shareholder?
Yeah, sure. Maybe I can help with this. So, what Satish told just now, like the government have their guidelines and the procedures to be followed and to be audited. But in some situation, it's like it depends on the shareholders or the directors of the company on how they are going the path forward for their company, right? So some decision of the internal decision of the companies will be decided by the principals and should be followed by the theory. And where that flow is not satisfied by the agents, and that cause the conflicts in between them.
So Sharon, just want to add
Yes.
something to this. For the now we are talking about public listed companies, right? In Bursa Malaysia or any
Okay,
other
okay.
securities
Okay.
in the world.
Mm-mm.
So what about the private firms? What kind of effort or issues related to agency theory can be tackled through laws, through associations, or some kind of regulation to prevent that in private firms, not publicly listed firms?
So you're asking that the how the agency theory can be applicable to the private sectors, right?
It's supposed to be, in theory, it is applicable to any type of firm, even non-profit firm. But the issue is in the publicly listed companies, there are some kind of, let's say, process to evaluate this or to reduce the risk of the agencies here. That is good. So what about the private firms? How we can suggest something to the private firms to reduce that risk?
Okay, panels, anyone want to try on this question?
I can take up this, Sharon. I understand where Tariq is coming from. Certainly, for public listed, he's asking the difference between the public listed company and not public listed company, and how does the regulatory works between these two. Am I right, Tariq?
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Somehow.
So basically, yep. So certainly, public listed company, they got a lot of regulatory to follow, and also in terms of setting up, because the difference between public listed company and private organization, public listed company can put up their shares to be sell. They have a different kind of a shares, can be sell common kind of a shares, and also a regulated kind of a shares, which is they can sell to public, and also people can just go and buy their shares. Compared to private companies, private organization, they don't openly put up their shares to be sell to public or something. So in terms of the
They don't
regulatory,
even distribute their financial statements to the people.
yes. So for private organization, one of the key checkpoint would be their audited statement. That is where the auditors, which is a third-party auditors, walks into the organization, check their documents and check their financial statement whether it's following the regulatory, the standard FRIS format that being set up. And I think that is the only one can be done for private organization compared to the public listed organization who have much more better regulatories.
Can we assume any role for associations? For example, in each country, there will be a kind of association where these people, businessmen or women, are grouping together for the benefit of the private sector in general.
I think in terms of a Malaysia case, I think Doctor just correct me if I'm wrong. In terms of a Malaysia perspective, we hardly have an NGO kind of or is it like some kind of association? We call it like a MIA association or ACCA association, stepping inside the some organization, setting up the guideline or something. It's hardly happening in that way, but it's more on the Security Commission who take a more charge in terms of the regulatory process. Yep.
Security Commission and Negara.
Yep.
Yeah. And our accountant, what do you call it?
MI, Malaysian Institute of Accountants.
Yes. Accountancy, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Thank you guys for the great presentation.
Thank you, Tariq. Thank you, Said.
Okay,
thank you,
right. So, okay, finally, you have a very good Q&A session. Okay, so I think this topic is very self-explanatory because we are talking about the agency issue where we are actually looking at the shareholders theory, where we have to maximize the shareholders' wealth. And what comes into this theory where we don't know what is the agent is doing despite of their appointment to manage our company. Yeah. So the shareholder are the owner of the company. So meaning that the shareholder appointed the managers to manage the company. All right. So taking Enron as one of the case study under this is actually very good, where it's actually stated the whole thing under the agency theory and other theory as well, because Enron is quite a good example in finance lah. The what do you call it as the, can I say it is the conflict lah, the conflict in Enron is an eye opener to the finance. Finance guru, the scholars, to investigate more on what is happening actually in the organization. Okay. So the second one is actually the stakeholder, where it is a broader range of the holder, which is actually we are looking into the internal and external environment of the organization, where we are not only looking at the shareholders part, but we are actually looking at the internal, where we are looking at the staff, the management, the supplier, okay, the external, the environment, the government, ruling, not ruling, governance body, policy maker. So these are all the stakeholder, also the client, the client. So meaning that although they have a duty to the shareholder, but they will not be able to justify if they are actually being violating the theory of shareholder, meaning that they have violating the theory of stock stakeholder. Okay, meaning that they also have an obligation to their internal and external party of the organization. Okay. So your Siemens cases was good. However, I mean, more explanation has to be done. Multinational company, this I mean, need to be explore more lah, on Siemens case, where I think this one is not that well known cases. I don't really I haven't read this. I haven't read this Siemens, so this is my first time knowing this Siemens scandal and whatnot. But can I have a look with a suggestion on this Siemens?
Don't have suggestion.
The Siemens on agency and the stakeholder. Any suggestions to it?
Well, no suggestions to pinpoint, doctor. We just it'd be better like if they take into consideration all stakeholders, as seen before. Like maybe the Siemens, they were focused on their own profit making, like $70 million bribe, but it could it increased the price, and it also increased the burden on the taxpayers. And also, doctor,
That
I
would
want
be the
point.
two slide before this, right? Slide before this.
This
So
one, yeah.
that would be the impact. The impact. Okay. Yeah, this is actually this is the consequences lah. When you have all this like bribery activity, in a way that the government. That's why we are very concerned on the corruption, all these kind of things, because when you take when the government is corrupt, okay, let's say if the government is corrupt, so the regulation, the enforcement will be difficult to enforce, right? Then we can see that all this kind of activity, like dominating the industry, dominating violating the customers' right and whatnot would happen lah. In a way that because they are going to be loose in the enforcement, because this is what they call it as indebtedness. Government now is indebtedness to the corporation, to the corporation lah. So so if you do the wrongdoing, so government will try to hide it, right? In a way lah. Okay. So not to mention a lot about this, because I believe it's going to be involved the politician and whatnot lah. So I'm not going to discuss about the politics and whatnot. Like we're going to see the what do you call it, the consequences to the stakeholder. To the stakeholder. Although that it could be a benefit to the shareholder in a way that government unable to do anything towards whatever it is the wrongdoing by the organization. But what happened to the customer? What happened to the environment? For instance, like pollution, right? Pollution, and then the violating of the rights of the customer. Okay, so the enforcement will be a bit loose here, because then who is actually jeopardizing this? The customer lah, the environment, who actually doesn't have the direct stake for this organization. So this is very serious issue lah, very serious issue. But then what would you suggest if this is happening? What would you suggest?
Change the regime, doctor, as usual. 4
Change
years for the system, the government. One of the tools that you manage the stakeholder problem is to change the system
Well,
every 4 years.
doctor, you can see here like this government took 70 million. And when they changed the government, it foiled the contract. Maybe this government, maybe they asked for more, maybe double. And when they refuse, so you could say that this rises the cost for Siemens as well as rises cost for taxpayers. So maybe the change in government demands a new contract. New contract means a new bribe or etc. So you could see they went back again to try and get the contract back. So you could see that
keep the government for a long time also is not good. I mean, it will be like the board of directors. We are not talking about Middle East or Malaysia. Don't worry, it's Argentina.
You know, Tarek, that will be very gross lah, to change the government, right? But then, I mean, at the end of the day, the whatever it is, the shareholder has to come into the picture lah, the board director, because you know what? Because this is like how to say it, like a serious matter, but it just in a way that you know sometimes it is beyond the ability of the shareholders to do this lah. Because okay, but there is a repercussion on this. Meaning that if the government change suddenly, then all the top management will be very worried, you know. So what they can do is that what normally do is that they will try to like one of the effort just now, like 2 cents of company lah, you know, all this kind of creative strategy, you know, creative strategy to to channel out the asset and whatnot lah. Okay. So this is kind of things lah. When you I like when the second group mentioned about the 2 cents of the company, to ringgit of company, or $2 company. This is actually a frame lah. So some of the organization, they have these $2 of the company just to have a contract. And now to give contract to this company, actually this company is actually your company lah. So this is actually to channel out some of the money, you know. So there could be another, I mean, that a strategy on to treat to deal something on channeling the asset, you know, to there's a lot of things lah, because when you talk about this organization, the management, the strategy and whatnot, you have been in the strategic management, right? So the strategic management class. So I think by now you already been opened up with all this kind of strategy. Who actually try to enter into this kind of business in any way or what lah. Okay, so to be creative lah, in a way that to be creative kan. Okay, so I like the way you answer the question. You are actually related to the what we call it as the real scenario of what is happening, what is happening real now, in this world. Okay, see, I think we have done this. Okay, so we have completed, right? We only have 3 groups, right?
yes.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, 3 groups only, eh? Okay, so
We need to
alhamdulillah, so we
ask
have
you
actually
question before we
yes.
finish this. We need to ask you
Yes,
question.
sorry.
How many questions are there in the midterm?
Oh my God. Okay, let's discuss this. Okay. All right. So your midterm, where is my cursor? Wow. You're straight to the point, lah, Tariq. You're really straight to the point.
Yeah, I'm an engineer.
Because it's already 10 something, right?
I mean, do we really need 5 hours to complete that?
No lah. I'm giving you 5 hours for you to discuss, all these kind of things. Okay. So let's go on your
That's okay.
midterm.
That's okay. So
Okay.
we
So
need to arrange
midterm, I
our
give you
schedule.
5 hours. So for you to try to understand the question and answer lah. So what you can do is the draft version could not be restored. Okay, so this is 7 July. On the 7th of July, is it?
Yes, doctor.
Yes,
Okay,
doctor.
all right. On the 7th of July. So you want to know the question, Okay. 1 person attempt it. Okay, so we have 44 questions. So this is for true and false, A, B, C, you know. So I think it's quite easy lah for you to answer. Okay, but what you can do is that you form a group to answer this midterm. Form a group to answer this question. Okay, 44 question, right? All carry 1 marks, right? So I think not that difficult, right? Not that difficult, but there is a calculation lah. There are a calculation. No, there are calculations that you need to perform, and that's why it requires 5 hours lah. Requires 5 hours. So don't worry so much about this. Okay. So what happened is that did I open it now? Timing. What is the timing? Oh, I just put the due date there. So you meaning that you can try from now until 7th of July lah. Yeah? 5 hours. Okay. Is that done with that? Because I'm going for your meeting 6 submission because Tariq, you have problem in submitting your assignment, correct? Because if I look into this setting, you shouldn't be any issue on that. Let me check on the setting. Okay, editing. Because
Yes,
I
what I understood,
opened
Doctor.
it until today, 2nd of July. Oh, 2nd July. Today is 2nd July kan you date. Baiklah, tonight. 9. Okay, by today, you want to do it by tomorrow?
Yes.
Submit by tomorrow?
Yes, we need to have the ability to edit the submission, Doctor, because we need to add the article as you request.
I can't hear you. Hello?
We need to add the article, Doctor. We need to add 3
okay.
files,
All right.
please.
Okay, so I give you until 3rd lah. I give you until 3rd, so to submit. I give you until 4th lah. Okay, until end of this week. Okay, so I'm giving you a maximum up to 5 files here. And then the maximum submission is 2 GB. It's quite big.
Yes, but
and you can actually upload any type of file. Any type of file. So pardon?
We cannot edit the submission if you press the submit by
Okay.
mistake.
So can you submit? I try to submit again because I can see that there is no, it should be no issue on the submission. Okay, try again. Because the setting shows that only, okay, wait, remind me to create. Oh, okay. So, okay. This is always happening. You know what? Last time I think I changed one. I edit the date, no, and then it doesn't reflect into this e-learning, but I don't know why. Okay, so submitted by 2 groups. Yeah, so meaning
Yeah.
that it shouldn't be an issue lah to submit.
No, still we
Tariq, I
cannot.
want you to resubmit here. Eh?
Yeah, I can, but
Why
there
you
is no
cannot?
option for resubmit. Because
You
in the
group one.
setting, there should be a way to edit the submission.
You submitted
But
only
we
today.
submitted only the quiz. No, we submitted the presentation. We need to add the 2 files that you requested for. the article.
Okay, all right.
So
Okay.
once we submit, we cannot edit the submission. There should be something in the setting to
Can.
edit the submission.
Can. You can submit. You can submit again.
But I checked already, doctor. There is no way to submit again because the submission is one time only. If you submit, it will not give you the chance to resubmit again.
Your voice is breaking, dear. Let me check again on the
I think what Tariq mentioned is after we submitted, we can resubmit again. We cannot add file.
cannot resubmit.
Yes.
I think you can. Why don't someone try? Because I think
I
you should be
already
able.
checked it now. I already checked now. There is no
Okay, try do.
submission.
Try do now.
Yeah. No, there is no submission button. It said submitted already. So there should be some setting to edit the submission.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let me change.
Okay, we just email you the article, Doctor? We
No,
just email you the
because
article.
I don't no, because I want it to be in the e-learning because when audit comes, they will check only the e-learning. Wait, let me change the setting again if the setting is the issue. Okay.
You need to allow the submission, something like that.
Admission setting, required student to click yes, submit button, okay.
I can make right open down. See, not this one.
It's down.
Never. This you would never, right? It should be
Okay.
maximum
Okay. Can you try now?
Okay.
I don't know whether this is the one. Okay.
If this is the one, you just give me a job. Yeah, I got it. Thank you very much.
Please perform. Please perform the submission again.
Yeah, now I'm able to do the submission. Yes.
Right.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you very much.
Done, eh?
Yeah, I'm submitting. Just not yet. Just looking for the.
Because you have to understand. Okay. Because you have to understand ODL. Anything, any submission has to be in the ODL platform. Okay. And again, one more thing that I need you to check. Can you submit?
Yeah, I already submitted now. You will see.
Done, eh?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it is in the ODL platform, eh? Okay. One more thing, I need you to okay. So let me change to this. Okay, switch role to student. Okay, so student. Did you notice that you have this completion button? Okay, so all this completion button. Let's check. I'll give you the MBS 1463550. Okay. You have all these completion button. Completion button here. I want you to click this. click this, meaning that you to check that you have done the activity.
Doctor, sorry, for quiz one, we cannot check mark on that. I tried already.
Okay, never mind. Because quiz one, you have to sit for the quiz. Quiz,
Okay.
quiz one, quiz two, midterm, final exam, you have to submit. Okay, so quiz one, quiz two, and midterm. You have to perform the quiz, then only it will check automatically. Okay? But other than that, you can check. You can check here. Okay? If you check the button, so meaning that you already seen this lah. Because this is for instance the recording. The recording. This is compulsory for the lecturer to include the recording or to submit the recording in the ODL platform because we want to assist the student. So if you don't check this, so meaning that students are not really, visiting this recording. So later we may say that the students are not interested. Right? The students are not interested. And some more that you have to complete at least 80% of this activity in order for you to be able to sit for final exam. So this is the beauty of ODL lah. So meaning that you can check here, okay, you can check here as attended, then it will complete your task. Okay, this is manually lah. It is manually. Okay, so that will be it, and then return to my normal role. Sometimes. Okay, so this is my normal role, right? This is okay. Okay, so your final exam. Your final exam. When is the submission? Already past due.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
2 days ago, 30th, right? Okay, so let me check. Okay, so submitted, Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
much. Submission because we have the
Okay. Okay, view or submission. Let me check. Let me check. I want to. Okay, let me check on. Okay, so. Okay, I'm gonna lock submission. Done. Okay, yeah. So that's it. So Alhamdulillah, you have submitted this one, and now it's my task to mark your paper. You know what? I have 101 paper to mark. Oh my God, so much. Okay. Pray for me. Okay. So that's it. That's it for this coursework. So this is your MBSA 1463 financial strategy, financial management. And Alhamdulillah, when I have this forum with you, I can see that there are some of the theories and some of the knowledge that I transferred to you has been there. You'll be able to communicate it during the forum. Okay, Alhamdulillah, I'm so happy with that. Okay, so I think that will be conclude. I'm going to conclude this, and whatever that knowledge that you have, please do it. Use it wisely. You know, share it if you wish to. Okay, I make halal for you. For the sake of the nation, our country, our people. Okay, our nation. So inshallah we will meet again. We will meet again. And So next semester will be your third semester, correct? Third semester. So you will be having an NVC, and one action research one, correct? Action research one and one more subject. What is the subject? OBD, is it? I can't remember. Okay, then one more subject. So for action research one, you're gonna have this AARC. AARC is a competition base. So competition base. So whoever is on my supervision, you should be able to complete. Okay, chapter 1, 2, 3 by this semester, and you have to submit to me. And because you have done your pitch for funding, correct? And then you have to start doing the intervention by early next semester. If not, that you won't have much time to do the intervention. This is action research one. Because you only have 3 months. Because if you have the intervention running for 2 months, you won't be able to see the reflection. The reflection is not that much, especially when you are talking about performance. And when you are talking about financial performance, definitely you won't be able to see in 2 months. So what you should do is that
the survey before the semester start or during the semester, the survey.
You actually, you know what, you are actually you can do it before the semester start, because this is between you and the organization. This is between you and the organization. So if the organization say yes, what stop you from doing that? Because you have to write reflection, because they don't state any duration for the intervention. Do they state that? No, right? So that's why this is what the student did, because they thought that in second semester they don't have this action research one, so they're going to enjoy lah, all this kind of things. But no, actually you can start. Okay, for student under my supervision, I always wanted the student to start the intervention much earlier, because you want to see the improvement. You want to see the reflection. So I don't know about your other supervisor, but for my student, I encourage them to do early. And Ibrahim, okay. Okay, so that's it. That's it for today and for this semester. Okay, inshallah. If you have submitted your FEP, and then you have performed all the quizzes, midterm, and assignment, I think it should be any issue failure in this class. Okay, right? So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with me. And then I know that all my students are so very good and very hardworking because every